welcome. With me, I have two classes today, which you can see they are partially filled. I've taken these classes to explain certain terms today, which will be today's topic of the discussion. Today, on 7th of September, some few hours prior, I was live with this British Airways press release where they have launched a program on sustainable aviation fuel, the usage of sustainable aviation fuel. What are they going to do is they are going to use the SAF or sustainable aviation fuel in their aircrafts or aeroplanes. Now you might have heard this term SAF or sustainable aviation fuel a lot of times. I was with the press release today. I thought why not come with a discussion on this topic. So today we'll discuss about the sustainable aviation fuel, what it is, what is its scope, what is its status, and what promises we see for this particular SAF in our future. So before going to SAF in details, let's try to see what all different other fuels are there in aviation industry, or how aviation industry consumes the fuel for its needs. If you see, it's around $200 billion bill annually. Will you believe this? Yes, that's true. It's a $200 billion bill annually for the aviation industry for the fuel only. And that is the largest component of this aviation business, which many a times the airlines or operators struggle. So this fuel, there are different types of fuel that is being used by aviation industry at present. But if we see them, we can divide it into two, like conventional fuels and non-conventional fuels. Conventional fuels are those which we have been using from the days of aviation or the initial days of aviation. These conventional fuels are mostly, if you see, are the fossil fuels, whether it is the gasoline, the gas, or the ATF, aviation turbine fuel, which we call it Jet A1. Now these are fossil based fuel or petroleum products. These are the conventional fuel which we use. I mean, we have been using this fuel for long. They are conventional. Now non-conventional fuel are those which either we are going towards them step by step, or we will be using them in future. We know them, maybe we don't have enough production, or maybe we are in a developing technology towards that particular fuel. That is why they are non-conventional. What are these non-conventional fuels? You can term this biofuel. That is one unconventional fuel. It's not petroleum based, not the crude oil based. It is not of that one. Another one is, you can term the hydrogen fuel, for which the technology is still on work. Another is this sustainable aviation fuel. I said two terms here, biofuel and sustainable aviation fuel. So just try to mark those words here. So biofuels, sustainable aviation fuel, and hydrogen. These are the non-conventional. That means in past we have not used these fuels extensively. We are in a developing phase towards these fuels. So, and also there are some other means of energy supply, but because we are concentrating on fuels, so we will talk about these three basically. I mean, we can talk that electric cars and electricity, those things are also kind of energy that will be promising for future aircrafts. But because we are talking on fuel, today's discussion will be on this sustainable aviation fuel and biofuel. Hydrogen fuel, of course, we are in the path of progress. Okay, now why are we talking so much of sustainable aviation fuel at present? Because if you see, we have technology available for the electric aircrafts or those engines which will be run with electricity. Those technology are available, but still they are not in their prime form, or still they are not matured enough to power the bigger aircrafts. We are still in the development phase for the smaller aircrafts. So if we see that, when can we expect a transport aircraft that can carry more than 100 passengers with electric engines? That may be 2040 or beyond, because we are still, the technology is not matured. What we have today is sustainable aviation fuel, which is nearby. I mean, we can directly replace the jet fuel or the fossil fuel with the sustainable aviation fuel. Now, you may ask about hydrogen fuel. Hydrogen fuel or hydrogen fuel technology is still in a development phase. So that will also take some more time before it gets into mainstream aviation and aerospace technology. So we have to also keep hydrogen fuel to one side. Now, so what is left out of these three: biofuel, sustainable aviation fuel and hydrogen fuel? Out of these three non-conventional fuel, we kept hydrogen one side. Initially we kept electrical engines one side. After that we kept the hydrogen fuel aside. Now we have two fuel, the biofuel and we have the sustainable aviation fuel. Now, why am I saying this thing differently? You might think, both are same, but it is not. Both are not same. Biofuel and sustainable aviation fuel are not the same. These glasses will be used for 2-3 times today. So let me start with the first example. See this one. Imagine this is biofuel and this is sustainable aviation fuel. Because I am saying two names, you also consider there are two different fuels. Okay, now these biofuels, for its production, it depends on the feedstock. What is a feedstock? Feedstock is that raw material or content from which a fuel gets processed. For this also there is feedstock for the sustainable aviation fuel. also we have feedstock, and for the biofuel we need the feedstock. Both the cases we need the feedstock. Okay, fine. For this biofuel, the feedstock is some plant products or plant based items or certain animal based products. What will happen if we start producing this biofuel in a greater number or in a greater quantity? There will be deforestation. Your all the forests will be cut. You may say we can grow them, but where will you grow? You still have to deforest and grow these particular plants. Then only you will get the feedstock for this. So, biofuel needs deforestation or extensive use of animal resources, which is not sustainable. Sustainable is that thing where you give something to nature and take back something from the nature. But here only you are taking from the nature. You are not giving back anything to the nature. It's not a renewable process. So it's called biofuel only. And specifically the first generation biofuels. Now there are some advanced biofuels where the dependency on nature is reduced, but not completely. But the first generation biofuels, they were completely dependent on nature, and the disturbance of nature, deforestation or animal slaughter or animal feedstock, that was required. So this is biofuel. Now sustainable aviation fuel. Sustainable aviation fuel also need feedstock, but the beauty here is the feedstock gets generated automatically or regularly. In this case the plant stock or plant based products will take years to get the feedstock, but here this gets generated. And what is the feedstock for this? This can be waste products from your household. This can be a paper. This can be a carton which you are throwing or disposing after using it. This can be the cooked oil or the cooked vegetable oil or fried vegetable oil which you dispose. That can be processed here. Or any residual forest items, like maybe some leaves or maybe some dry branches or any such things, those can be used here, but not in this case. You need proper feedstock for that. But here this is recycling. Whatever we are wasting, that is being recycled here. So they are different. The process of manufacturing is different. So biofuel, sustainable aviation fuel. So because biofuel needs all these things, now we will exclude that also. Initially we excluded electrical engines because it will take time, technology has to develop. Same with hydrogen, that also we are keeping one side for time being. And biofuel also we excluded because it is not sustainable and it is harmful for the environment. We have this one now, sustainable aviation fuel. This one has a promise. So what is it? Is it compatible with our aircrafts? Yes. This fuel, this sustainable aviation fuel is completely compatible with our engines. The engines we are using at present, you do not need to change the technology of that particular engine for this fuel to be used. Or the distribution network will be same or similar. You don't need a separate network or separate browsers or the transportation devices for this sustainable aviation fuel. That is why it is sustainable. So this can fit in. Chemical composition, yes, it is almost same to the fossil fuel, the Jet A1 fuel which we are using at present. In fact, the sulfur content in this sustainable aviation fuel is less because of the mature technology. So, we can use this sustainable aviation fuel. Now, what is the benefit and why we are departing from, or why we are trying to depart from the fossil fuel to the sustainable aviation fuels? Because if you see the fuel, the Jet A1 fuel or the ATF or the fossil fuel, that is responsible for tons and tons of carbon dioxide being parked into atmosphere, and we are responsible for that. As aviation, or from the fraternity of aviation, we are responsible for that, and we need to take care of our society and environment. It is our responsibility. That is why we have to go towards sustainable aviation fuel. And how it is beneficial? This sustainable aviation fuel, if you compare in their life cycle means starting from the waste from your house till the aeroplane gets filled in, that is called life cycle. That life cycle, if you compare for a sustainable aviation fuel, and if you compare that of Jet A1 fuel or the fossil fuel, the carbon footprint is 80% less. That's so beautiful. 80% less carbon we are going to park due to this sustainable aviation fuel. What else we need? Because now the way we are growing, or maybe after this pandemic when the flights get normal and slowly the travel industry comes back to its own, by that time or by 2040 or 2050, the passengers will increase dramatically. Everybody wants to fly, or everybody needs aeroplanes to fly. That time the passengers will be excess of around 8 billion, the passengers. What will happen to the carbon dioxide parking? That will be beyond control. So, if we have sustainable aviation fuel, definitely we can reduce the quantity of carbon parking or the carbon footprint. That is why this needs to be used. So where is the issue? Where is the problem? Why can't we use it directly? What's the issue? You might say, you said, yes, we can directly use them on engines, I mean the aircrafts, and they are so beneficial, and also the transportation or the infrastructure is the same. What's the issue? Issue is the awareness, the policies, the viability. I'm not saying feasibility for this time, I'm saying viability. It is not viable at this moment for commercialization, because for commercialization this fuel needs to be of same or near to same cost of fossil fuel. At present the fossil fuel is cheaper than this SAF or sustainable aviation fuel. The cost of sustainable aviation fuel is around 2.8 to 3 times of current fossil fuel. So which airline is going to use that when they see the bigger bill for the fuel? That is the issue. And the production at this moment is not much. I mean, there are companies, if you see, there is one Finland based company called Neste, and there is also one California based company, Fulcrum Bioenergy. These two companies are among, in the front, they are the frontliners in production of SAF. There are some other companies who are producing smaller quantities, but it's not widespread. Production is not there. Commercial viability is not there. Second, the research and development into this SAF industry, it's not completed yet. The research and development is still ongoing, and funding for that R&D, research and development, is needed. Governments across the world, they need to fund for the R&D of this technology. That is not yet done. Commercialization could not be done due to these factors. Next is feedstock. We can say, suppose if you see United States of America, the waste items they are producing, the household waste items from the United States of America, they can support their program. They can support the sustainable aviation program for their country. But for that you need a structure to be made, and that is the responsibility of individual governments. Like in this case, the federal government, they need to make policies regarding the sustainable aviation fuel, and also encourage the production and encourage the use. How they can encourage the production? By giving the funding or allocating certain amounts for these particular projects, and asking those companies who are into this business to grow their business or increase production or increase their research and development work. At the same time, the operators or airlines or the aircraft owners needs to be encouraged to use them. Company produces but airlines doesn't use, then what's the benefit or what's the future for the SAF? There is no future. So in this case, the government policies will help. The tax benefits or the cost cutting measures, these all things needs to be taken care of from the government side, and at the same time the airlines and operator should show the willingness. At present, it's not like that it's not happening. I mean, around 100,000 flights are happening in 1 year with sustainable aviation fuel, but that's very less. That's hardly 0.5% of aviation activity. So you can imagine, where are we now? What is our current status? 0.5% of the number of flights are using the sustainable aviation fuel, and that is through personal funding. That means a passenger is being asked, are you willing to pay for this sustainable aviation fuel? If he says, some extra amount is taken from that passenger or maybe some corporate clients, and that is being used for the sustainable aviation fuel funding. Why not make it commercial? Why not governments come together or make a rule or policy to spread awareness or to uh, ask airlines or benefit airlines to make use of this sustainable aviation fuel? It's required. So this is policy part. Now coming to the aircrafts. I just told it is safe for the aircrafts. Yes, of course it is safe for the aircrafts. When one aircraft needs a different technology, the designer or the manufacturer or the OEM will think twice whether I need to use this new thing in my aircraft or not. But when it has been tested and proven that this sustainable aviation fuel can be used in the aircrafts without any modification, it is as good as you are using the Jet A1 fuel, then there is no complaints about that. But are we using the complete SAF into the aircrafts? At the moment, no. At the moment, again I will bring the examples. Okay, now treat this is sustainable aviation fuel and this is Jet A1 fuel. Now Jet A1 fuel, it's okay, certified, it is being used. But for this fuel, the sustainable aviation fuel, till today the certification process says you can use a blend of this sustainable aviation fuel. Till today the R&D work is on to replace the jet fuel completely, but now the status is, if you want to use this sustainable aviation fuel on aircrafts, jet fuel 50% and another 50% of sustainable aviation fuel. So this is one engine's consumption, where half of this is sustainable aviation fuel and another half is the fossil fuel. This is called 50-50 blend. This blend is being used now. We are not using the complete fuel from sustainable aviation fuel or SAF. At present, this is the scenario. But yes, this fuel, sustainable aviation fuel, the other name we can say it's a drop-in fuel. Drop-in fuel means you don't need any modification to the equipment or aircraft. This is called equipment. Directly you can drop that sustainable aviation fuel and the aircraft will fly. But for certification reasons or for the R&D, the 100% usage is not being allowed now. But we may see that there are some news on this also, to use 100% sustainable fuel on aircrafts. Very quickly we'll get that. Many airlines are used, like today British Airways, it said that in its domestic flights it is going to use. Before to that we had seen Lufthansa using the sustainable aviation fuel, Finland using this, United Airlines is using this. Many are using, but how are they using? They are using with the funding of passengers. That means if passengers are willing to pay for their carbon offset or the carbon they are parking due to their flying, if passenger is willing to pay, the United is taking, or maybe Finland is taking, Finnair is taking, or Lufthansa is taking that amount. So this is how the sustainable aviation fuel program is going on as of now. but it's not yet done 100%, but we need and we expect it is to be commercialized and be used it, not only for us, for our future generations. Now industry is expecting, or IATA also is expecting, that by 2030 this sustainable aviation fuel will be a bigger part in aviation game. That should be, because aviation fuel, sustainable aviation fuel will reduce the harm that humans are creating on the environment. So the life cycle process that is being used by this sustainable aviation fuel, from waste feedstock to aircraft, that complete process, if you see, in that process, and if you compare the same process for the fossil fuel, like where there is, you have a long transportation, like the oil you are getting is the fuel you are getting is from Middle East, the crude oil is coming, you refine it, then transport it, blah blah blah, till the aircraft. And same thing you do for sustainable. If you compare their life cycle and give and take to the environment, they are 80% more efficient. That means 80% less carbon we are parking due to them. And this 80% less carbon will help our future generations to flourish, to live a peaceful and pollution-less society. So this was all about sustainable aviation fuel, which you might have heard many a times. Put in your comments if you need more information on this, or any particular item you were unable to understand from this video. Definitely I'll try to answer them and we can discuss more on this. So keep watching videos of similar nature, which I'll be bringing again and again for your use.